You're not even tan, Mike, from your trip to Florida.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to night one of the FY 2027 FinCom budget hearings. Here we are again. Tonight we'll be listening to an overview of the budget and discussing management department heads, human resources, public works, and capital outlay. Any business before we get started?
Mr. Chairman, I noticed that when I watched the Select Board's meeting, Maureen has her timer, which gives 3 minutes per speaker. We used to do that on the school committee when I was there, and I think anybody who wants to make a point can certainly make it in 3 minutes. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt that for us, too, that speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per time they get up.
Including FinCom members?
No.
No. So that's my motion.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And I'd also like to thank the Zoning Board of Appeals this evening for graciously giving us this space. They are meeting, for those of you who might be here for that, at the Senior Center. So thank you, ZBA, for your graciousness. And with that, I'll turn things over to the town manager.
Okay. Where am I going here? I'm going to go to this one. I don't know. Let's try this one. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you to the members. Thank you guys for being here tonight. And thank you, public, for being here. I want to introduce the staff that we have with us tonight. So Nick Navin is all the way to my right, Assistant Treasurer Collector, and Rodney Conley, Administration and Finance Director, Steve King, newly appointed DPW Director, Angelica Medina, who is our DPW Business Office Manager, and we have representing the Select Board tonight, Select Board Member Mike Bean. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And we have Philippe Hibbelet, who is our HR Director. So that's what you have from us on our team today. As the chairman said, today we are going to be going through department heads, management, the kind of budget overview, HR, DPW, all tax-supported, water and sewer, and capital outlay. And you will see that we will be back in this room on Wednesday, the 15th, to hear from the schools, the library, and the land use and community services. And then again on Thursday, the 16th, for police, fire, electric, benefits and insurance, clerk's office, legal, legislative, FinCom reserve, IT, and all the finance departments. In front of you is just where we are in the process. We will run through the budget with Finance Committee this week, take a week off next week, be back at it for warrant review with all of you the following week. And again, annual town meeting is on May 18th at 7:30 p.m. at Danvers High School Auditorium. Okay. So this is where we start. I think this is an important slide. This shows you the average single-family tax bill for our surrounding communities. We are obviously green, which I think is a pretty incredible place to be. This is a balancing act between affordability and quality services, and we try to remain in that sweet spot, but it is going to become more and more difficult in the coming years based on increasing budget pressures. One of the important things to point out on the slide is that the three to the right of us, of the three, two of them receive considerably more state aid, which is Peabody and Salem. And the third, which is Burlington, is the only municipality on this list with a more robust commercial tax base. And I should point out as we get moving through here that the page numbers for the corresponding budgets will be at the bottom of the slide.
Thank you.
For the budget book. This slide, I think, not only everyone here in Danvers, but everybody in my life has heard me talk about this slide nonstop for the last several months. This slide, in combination with the debt slide, it pretty much sums up how we are where we are this year. This team has been working incredibly hard to get to a balanced budget. People ask where that $3.5 million deficit where we started came from, and it's right here. So you can see that the healthcare budget was a 9.8% increase. The Danvers Public Schools, which we are thrilled to be able to give them, their increase, that's their 3-year average, but their increase was 4.05. Essex Tech essentially was a 12.5% increase this year, and our retirement contribution is 8%. So if you note the highlighted section on this slide, the increase in tax levy and new growth available is 3.1 million. And the budget drivers, just the 4 on this slide, equal almost 5 million. So this is what drives that budget gap that you guys have all been hearing from past years. This gap has usually been about 6 figures when the team sat down. This year was significantly bigger, and these drivers are not expected to change in the next few years. So for us and myself being my first budget here in Danvers, while this was incredibly challenging, it was also really brought our team together. Our senior team is super focused right now on how we can look for operational efficiencies and boost new growth, because that's, well, one, we all love our jobs and we want to keep making this town great, and we love what we do. And so to do that, we need to find the key points in here where we can find some savings and keep moving forward with some of our strategic initiatives. All right, budget snapshot of key reserves. So as in past years, building and maintaining key reserves remains a priority. This slide gives an overview of what we hope to achieve in the FY 2027 budget. Free cash is certified at 11.65 million, another strong number. One of the things that certainly attracted me to this position when looking through your budgets. I will remind folks, though, that one of the things that we kept in mind as we built this budget and as we move forward in the next fiscal year with our strategic kind of planning going forward is a big driver of this strong number is the landfill project, which brought in about 2.7 million, and this is the last year for that. Another piece that we're keeping a close eye on, and by we I really mean Rodney on this one, is our budget, our investment income, also being driven. We've had some great returns, not expecting that to continue at the rate that it is. So our free cash number is strong. We're thrilled about it. You will see our warrant articles at the end of April on ways that we want to be able to use it. So you'll see here certified free cash after the appropriation. So we were able to update this slide and put in what we are suggesting through the warrant articles. The debt stabilization balance, we are at FY27 is 6.44 million. General stabilization, 6.41 million. OPEB trust fund, 21.53 million. And the unassigned balance is to be determined, but we'll stay within our policy of 8 to 12%. Let me see if I miss anything. I want to point out, and you'll hear this from me a lot also, when people have asked kind of how do we close that gap, on top of being thoughtful about where we make cuts, changing some staffing. We also, those budget drivers that you saw before, we're also being very conservative and are getting closer and closer to projected to actuals in the previous years, and this continued in FY27, so you'll see that more closely when we get to revenues. Debt stabilization is being utilized as expected as part of the debt peak reduction model for the Smith School with an eye toward future projects. The number used in FY27 budget remains the same despite a drop in overall debt. That was a key piece in closing that budget gap. The OPEB trust fund is up $50,000 annually in our scheduled increase. Continued efforts to increase the appropriation and limit growth of that expense are needed. That also has to be, contribution is fully funded out of free cash, which again, you'll see in the warrant articles. Another one of our strategies that needed to be used in order to balance this budget. I worked with the select board on our budget goals. So these are the FY 2027 budget goals. I think the one that I want to point out and that you'll hear us keep talking about is related to economic development initiatives and operational efficiencies. These are the two critical points that we will be hyper-focused on in the next fiscal year. People around here have heard me say recently, often, we're getting the house in order here so that I can get out of the office and start really focusing on that commercial tax base, making connections with the people that are here so they stay here, and hoping to help with growth and those operational efficiencies, which is the team on the ground will be really focused on. All of this is in your budget book too, which I'm sure you study. Everyone knows it. Revenues and expenditures, so pie charts, because who doesn't love a good pie chart? Let's see, important to look at the revenue side, referring back to that average single-family tax bill slide I showed you previously. As I mentioned, Peabody and Salem receive a significantly more state aid, which is unlikely to change for Danvers in the near term. So our orange slice on the revenue chart on the left, we do not anticipate seeing that getting any bigger, which is going to be tough on all communities. But in the larger, broader picture, I think all municipalities are facing that, and I think the state will have some pressure on them at some point to do something. On the expenditure side, the expenditures that represent the Danvers Public Schools, who you will hear from Wednesday, that makes up 40.65% of our expenditures, but I want to point out to the committee and to the public that does not represent all of our investment in the schools, because that just carries what we give to the schools. It doesn't carry anything that we do related to grounds and buildings and maintenance and all of the above. Benefits and insurance make up about 12.63% of our expenditures. That includes health insurance, dental, Medicare, and MedX for retirees, which also includes the schools. Budget highlights expenditures. So you will see on this side some of the, again, key drivers. Schools, we were thrilled to be able to at least keep them at 4.05%. This is, the town made an investment in the special ed programming 2 years ago, and we all agreed that it was important to keep that investment going to realize the benefit. General government required multiple rounds of cuts to balance, including reductions in staffing, which you will see a net 3.5 staff members, with a total increase of 2.39%. Where am I going? Debt is related to great rates, structuring of new debt, and the schedule. So where did I skip? Sorry, debt service went down. Library, as you can see, went up. You'll hear from the library also on Wednesday. Retirement growing at a pace that we expect, but also much faster pace than revenues. Benefits, our health insurance had a 9.8% renewal. We're not alone in that. I think Maya's average was something like between 4 and 12%. And we don't see relief coming in that area anytime soon. This year, Essex Tech payment was up 12.5%, despite flat enrollment. That's predominantly driven by the Chapter 70 formula's minimum required contribution. And total expenditures includes capital outlay and unappropriated charges, which are the cherry sheet assessments. So the total expenditure increase for this budget is 3.54%. Just to go back to the discussion of kind of where were the cuts made and how did we fill that hole. There were, again, several rounds at the senior management and director level. I was looking really in detail at budgets, but the big ones schools originally came in requesting a 6% increase. We were able to give them a 4%, so that was a little over $1 million. OPEB will be fully funded out of free cash, and it won't be supported in the operating funds, and same with debt stabilization. As we pointed out earlier, the amount remains the same this year, even though debt went down, the overall debt went down. So those three items alone were about $2 million. And then I would say, well, Rodney would say we probably made at least another 1,000 smaller cuts that you have to kind of dig deeper into the budget to see. So we're happy to answer any questions as we go through. And revenues, these figures represent where we are at this point based on the information available. Property tax based on conservative $600,000 in new growth and full use of our levy, including excess capacity. The state aid is based on the governor's budget. We are essentially a minimum aid community again this year with a minimum increase. Local receipts continue to show. They're estimating them much closer. We just talked about this to the projected actuals, dollar for dollar against next year's free cash. The investment income will be one to monitor over the next year, but we feel comfortable with FY27. But these are one of the tools that we use to close that gap that we'll have to keep a very close eye on going forward. Other available funds is decreasing based on the utilization of less free cash for capital outlay. Do you want to stop for questions on the?
Yeah, let's, Wally?
I was talking a lot.
Good for right now.
I'm good for right now also.
Ted?
Can you go back to slide 9? So, just first, retirement and benefits and insurance, are those the line items that are capturing the health insurance increase? Or are those
Yes.
different increases? Okay, so that's where that's showing up, okay. Essex Tech, so can you guys explain, so are the number of students we have there, is it down year over year? So we're a smaller percentage of the operating budget. Can you walk me through how we get from that to 12.5%? And I know maybe somebody else could opine on this as well.
Your colleague is grinning.
How much of that is, so let's just say our students are down by 2%, so I would expect it to be 2% smaller, then the budget's gonna get bigger by X percent, call it 4, so now we're at a 2% growth, and I'm looking at a number that says 12%, so how do we get to that number?
I will give you what we learned from the superintendent at the select board meeting, because they asked the same question. It is based on a state Chapter 70 formula, which includes wealth of the community, includes more than just the number of students that we send. We have asked for kind of a tutorial on that, how to walk us through the formula, but we have not received it. I don't know, Member Landers, if you have any insight into what the magic is behind that number.
I wish I did. I do believe, and again, this is my own personal belief by going through the process, that there has been, by the state, a bit of a shift, placing a larger proportion of the operating budget upon the sending communities as opposed to the agricultural students. So you have to understand that there's a bit of a duality to the operation of the school. The sending communities, those are the communities like us that pay that amount, and then the agricultural students who come in from outside of those sending communities, there's a reimbursement that goes along with that. It is phenomenally confusing, and unfortunately, for the most part, you just sort of have to accept that the state formula is being applied appropriately. Good for you if you can do that, but I don't believe that there is any, if the bottom line is there's no shenanigans in regards to the
No, I'm just
idea.
trying to, like, my first question is how much did the operating budget go up? I guess.
Yeah, so we'll go through them a little bit more in depth
Yeah.
this time when we get to them, and I'll make sure everybody has the copy of their budget book, which is not quite as in-depth as this, but the operating budget is up. Operating budget is up by about 5% total. Roughly about the same as our school operating budget. I will say this, just as a going forward with it. There are a lot of things in play up there right now in regards to the admissions policy and how that exactly is playing out. There are a lot of things in play out there in regards to that relationship between the agricultural component of it and the sending communities. There are a number of concerns, one of which is that I believe Salem is exploring the possibility of leaving the district. They were not in the district originally, but they're exploring it. If that was to occur, there would be a substantial number of available seats that would go to the remaining, which would, add substantial costs to that. I will also tell you this, though, that again, although applications were up, those applications and increases were driven by the agricultural students. The applications from the sending communities were actually down this year. So there does seem to be a bit of a holding pattern from the sending communities. It's really the other ones that are sort of driving this, and that features in a little bit, I think, as well as what we're talking about in terms of those Chapter 70 funds. So I don't know if that helped, but
I would just point out that for future, for people listening, that debt service of reduction of 500K is because a piece of the middle school debt came off, and that helped absorb some of the unexpected increases this year, but we're not getting any help from debt service for multiple years going forward. So it's going to be harder to come up with tricks.
Strategies, please.
Potato and grape.
Mr.
Potato,
Chairman.
potato.
No, that's it for now.
nope, thanks.
Eric?
Two questions, that might be the right slide. Can you talk a little bit more about the strategy for using free cash to close the gap? What I'm trying to make sure I understand is how we use it this year, and is that something that we are dependent on next year, similar to the debt service thing? I mean, I know we did what we had to do,
Yeah.
but of all the things, the budget is balanced. I don't have a whole lot of other questions, but that's the one that is most pertinent to me because it's structural and free cash is not.
Yeah, and I can see that Rodney would like to answer this question very badly. So I'm going to hand it over to him.
Thank you, Madam Manager. I just want to clarify, because we're not using free cash to balance the budget, other than capital outlay, which we routinely do. What we did do was we took, if you remember a few years back, OPEB, our contribution to OPEB was funded entirely through a free cash appropriation. We managed a few years back to incorporate a good chunk of that into the levy. This year, we had to back that out. So it returns to, again, just funding our long-term liability out of free cash. But the operating budget itself, short of the capital outlay, which is routine, is not dependent on free cash.
You expected that question.
No, I didn't. But
And then thank you. And then my other question, Town Manager, was about your growth strategy. You alluded to it a little bit. Obviously, you said efficiencies and growth, which is just a strategy that everyone has to take in mind. And you seem to have some thoughts about that.
I do. As you know, my background is in the community development, economic development world. I think as I've learned the history of Danvers and the growth a bit more, I sat down through the tax classification stuff with the assessor and Rodney, following the trends, saying, okay, here's where we grew. What was the town doing? How was the town involved? What I think I've learned thus far is that we've just been very lucky about our location. And I would like to take that to the next step. I'd like to take our location, our incredible energy rates, and all of our schools, all of the above, and really start to go out there and work with organizations like the North Shore Chamber, really get to know our residents in the industrial parks. They're growing also, they're expanding, and I don't think we're the ones who are actively out there doing it. A lot of work downtown. We have an incredible amount of opportunity downtown. We have something like 12 available liquor licenses and vacant storefronts on Maple Street. That says to me we should be the restaurant, we should be the dining capital of the North Shore. So I got a couple things in mind, but my goal is to get the things in house in order, which I think we're very close with this budget and the articles in front of you for town meeting, and then just start pounding the pavement and meeting people, and also leverage everything we can at the state level. Building those relationships. We are attacking the Economic Development One-Stop Grant portal and applications actively right now, building those relationships as well. So everyone's going to know that we're open for business.
Thank you.
I think Eric touched one of the questions I had about growth. To me, I'm not going to go into it right now. Maybe along the way we'll get into it a little bit more.
Okay.
But you just sort of brought it up and answered the question. Did you mention in lieu of taxes pilot program?
I did not.
You haven't gotten there yet, right?
No. I don't think so. I didn't see it yet, right?
No, I don't.
It was on a slide.
So we might have
Put it on
mentioned
the
it during
slide.
revenue. So the change you may see there again is our contribution from electric. We have a 5-year,
revenue.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I know the electric, is there a contribution from water or not? There is.
They make a small contribution for the land, water, and sewer, both in their operating budget have a contribution. And then they also, all three of them, pay support services, which is another revenue line that reimburses for accounting, HR, treasury, et cetera.
Are there any other institutions that are, was there one, Mass General or something?
Mass General pays a pilot. Yeah, there's a couple. I don't want to name them and skip one that
No, don't.
that does
That's all
pay.
right.
But yeah, we have a couple. Mass General being one of them as well.
Okay, there are no other promising, though, in the town that you know of, or I can think of one, but I'm not going to bring it up. But anyway, that's it right now. I'll just hold it until we get further along. Thank you.
No questions, just comment. I do applaud the thought for trying to bring more to Danvers. That has been my thought over the last few years too, because we do have a lot to offer and there are a lot of empty spaces, and I'm just really glad that you've got that in your plan. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the audience on the overview? Mr. Zubrick. And I'd ask the vice chair to be the timer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
I just have a couple of questions. I understood that the school department, or the school budget, was funded by some free cash. And I'm just wondering whether that's real or unreal, because I spoke to the school department and they told me there was an allowance made. And that before I even found out what the number was. So that's one question.
Well, Mark, the schools are presenting to us on Wednesday night.
That's not the point. The point is we're talking about free cash and how free cash is being allocated. The question is, has any of the free cash been allocated to support the school department?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, again, this also would be a warrant question for the week of the 27th. But as the warrant, which is posted online, shows, there's a recommendation $1 million transfer out of free cash to the school department for the FY26 budget we're currently in.
Thank
And we're
you.
happy to, the schools are happy to talk about that on warrant night.
Thank you.
So it's actually supporting the day-to-day activities of the school department. The other question I have is, you know that I've studied the budget over many years now. Has this budget been based on any reorganization by the town manager of the department and the allocation to each department?
Through you, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Whatever you want.
Sorry. We will get in, that's actually the next slide. We'll get into that. Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Nice job, Mark.
It was like 1 minute. You owe me another minute.
Okay,
You ready to keep going?
let's keep going.
Okay, management budgets. So, to answer Mr. Zubrick's question, we will get into it over the next two budgets. You'll see it in both management and department heads' budget. These two budgets reflect the reorganization of the town manager's office and the responsibilities related to community relations, diversity, equity, inclusion, and strategic project management. Here you'll see the management salaries and wages in this budget increased because there will be a new position in my office related to community relations and special initiatives, strategic initiatives. One of the reasons this came to be is we've heard a lot of feedback around the DEI coordinator position and those responsibilities. I feel strongly that work needs to start at the top and needs to come from my office and myself and our senior management team, both internally and externally. And the vision here, as you'll see in the next budget, the department head budget decreases, and that reflects the elimination of two positions. That's the assistant town manager and the DEI coordinator. To fill, those are two high-level director positions. This community relations and strategic initiatives manager is more of a mid-level position. We're looking for this person to work, the community relations one, to work externally with HRIC and other organizations, along with myself, to do some of the work that was within the DEI coordinator's profile as well as the assistant town manager's profile. But again, this to me is where one of the places I need to lead, and I expect to be out there and be a part of it very actively, again, with our senior management team. And then the internal piece of that work will be, we have an open position as our assistant HR director, and we will be rolling some of that work into their profile as well. And again, to keep us at the senior level engaged and paying attention to it and really making it part of our everyday work. So that's where you see the increase here and the decrease on the department head's budget.
Mary?
Nothing right now, thank you.
Paul?
So you did not hire a assistant town manager, but you're hiring the other person, replacing that with another.
Correct. There will no longer be an assistant town manager position. That is correct. And again, this is more of a mid-level position, so they can be more hands-on with the community and different committees like HRIC and accessibility.
I'm sure I'll have an opportunity to meet with that person.
I'm sure you will. I welcome that.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Eric? Mike?
Nope, good, thank you.
Ted?
I think I'm good.
Arthur?
All set?
Wally?
All set.
Okay. I have no questions. Good budget. Questions from the audience? Go.
Yes. Now he's going to spread it out to get multiple shots.
As a study of the management department, I understand that in the past, we've had 28 management and director positions that were identified because I've asked for that information. How has that changed on this chart now? Because that was last year's information.
So you're down two. Because the other, yes,
Down to,
down two senior level positions, and there's one mid.
okay, so that'll bring down the number because I have the two, for the school department, there's two.
There's two there as well.
And so that would mean that there's a reduction in the budget. And the problem that I see is that have we reorganized everything else to your needs in regard to how the departments are going to work together? And because that will directly affect the costs of those departments. So has the reorganization taken place, and that's how it's going to be?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I would say this budget is definitely the first step, and probably the biggest step. But we, with the DPW director in place, there's some more to come, I think, in the coming years, because we know that we're going to have to continue to make some changes. I've charged the new DPW director and the Land Use and Community Services director to really do a deep dive into how their two departments interact and how they work. So we may see some changes in that area in the future. We'll get to legal eventually this week. That's another area that our needs are changing. So I wouldn't say we're done, but we're getting there. This is a good first step.
Well,
for
the
us.
only thing that I'm looking at is there's showing large percentage changes on this particular one, but that's only yours.
That's because the assistant town manager is not in this budget
Right.
yet.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Mr. Bates.
Thank you, Bill Bates, Town Meeting Member Precinct 4, and thank you to the FinCom for your service to the town. Can you tell me, do we have a procurement specialist? Because I think that position was used to be done by the assistant town manager.
We do. We do have a procurement specialist, Judy Smith, and it's also another area that we are highly focused on our succession planning. Actually, you have two of our MCPPO certified team members sitting on either side of me.
I don't know what those initials mean.
Those are the purchasing, Massachusetts, Chief Procurement, what? Person. It's the certification you need to be a purchasing officer.
So we have
procurement
Judy
officer.
Smith as one.
So we have one position for that currently, but I agree that this is an area that we really need to think about succession planning. So as I said, so Angelica and Nick are both certified, so that's a step to make sure that we don't land flat-footed in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Passes unanimously.
That was management. Do you want to do department heads too?
Yep.
Oh, this is the one I ran through already, though, the
Yeah.
narrative, yeah.
Any further discussion on department heads?
Let's see, hold on a second.
Paul, you got something?
No, I'm all set.
Anything else from the audience? Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you. We're going to go on to the human resources budget. We've talked a little bit about some of the next steps in the vision for the HR department. This is another area, getting to Mr. Zubrick's question. Human resources, like accounting, like IT, is one of the departments that touches all of the other departments. Hiring is their number one concern right now, because we are finding that challenging across sectors, from DPW to administrative staff. It is a current labor market effect. It's challenging across municipal recruitment, and we must be as dynamic as possible to meet those challenges. So this current budget includes funding for an HR administrative assistant. It's temporary at the moment, but we need to be more efficient at responding to and getting our postings out there and moving right into interview phase and all that. So we need someone to help move through the actual work. So that's what you will see in this. And then I would also say that this is one of the areas that we are hyper-focused on right now, kicking it off now, and Philippe is showing a lot of leadership here, and also really, he is working closely actually with our IT director as a senior manager. to do some analysis, some additional training. We really want to coordinate with the IT and the finance team to streamline their systems. I think most of you know we introduced Munis recently. There is an HR module for Munis. It's in the budget book that is a goal of the HR departments. But we're engaging across departments because one of the places we're missing is at the handoffs. So when it goes from HR to payroll, we're missing those handoffs and losing time and need to be more efficient. So Nick is a huge piece of this as well. So we're really focusing on using new technology to make the processes more efficient and increase the training and the support for the HR team.
Anything?
Not here, no.
Arthur?
So is the 77,000 just for the one position?
I think essentially, no? And the increases in the other salaries, the union.
Oh, okay.
increases, Yeah, which
So-
are in general 3%.
So basically, you say temporary staffing, but it sounds to me like it's more like you need this person.
Well, that's part of
Longer
what
than
the
temporary.
analysis is to find out.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Ed?
Are you using any artificial intelligence tools to help in recruiting and processing?
We are starting, so we were head of the state and instituting an AI policy, and that's one of the reasons I have the IT director as the senior management leader on this project. This is an area where I think we're going to find a lot of efficiencies.
Yeah, from what I've seen in our company, it sounds, the folks in recruitment seem like the most happy to be using it. That's it.
Mike?
No, thank you.
Eric?
You mentioned the area that I was going to go in, similar to Ted's question. Do you have ballpark in how long it's taking now versus how long you ideally would like the recruitment process cycle to last?
I don't have that right now, and I don't know if Philippe knows that off the top of his head. We don't have the goal yet, I can tell you, but the average length of time it takes for a recruitment process. Yep.
Philippe, if you could just go up to the microphone so that our friends at home can hear you.
Felipe Polite, Human Resource Director. So right now, recruiting process takes anywhere from 2 months, really. And that's with reviewing applications that come in and setting up interviews and essentially onboarding.
And is any of that electronic at this point or not yet?
No, not yet.
I would, my point then would say that certainly is in support of anything that you make investing, to get that into technology. Absolutely. Thank you.
Mike?
So I'm assuming, though, that in regards to that 2 months, there's a wide scan within the various departments that you're involved with. That's average for town hall, but some of the other departments that you're also dealing with, at least on a peripheral basis, the police, fire, that can take substantially longer, I assume.
Correct.
Police and fire take almost 6 months.
Yeah.
And again, on top of the length of the process, it is finding people who are interested in doing the work. Municipal work isn't quite as attractive to this next generation as it once was. So we've got to find ways to be more attractive, and we have a lot to offer in Danvers of all the municipalities. Again, I think we pay very well. Again, centrally located, you can live in almost any town around here and be able to get to us easily. So we need to hyper-focus on that.
And then the last question on that topic is just recruiting. Where are we recruiting, and what are your thoughts on the evolution of our recruiting practices?
So right now, we're obviously we're required by the union agreements to post in certain places within the town. We also actively work, and I'm going to just look to you to fill in where I mess up. The Massachusetts Municipal Association, the MMA, has a job posting. That's where I would say that is probably the primary place where people in our field go to look. Different professions have their professional association boards as well. I don't know if there's ones I'm missing.
LinkedIn and when we post on LinkedIn, the positions usually reflect on things like Indeed, and everything else.
Okay, thank you.
So when we say that we pay well, would it be fair to say that that's not always uniform, though, in that we have some departments that we are not above 85% of the norm? I guess my question would be, do we on a regular basis take, say, a dozen communities that are of similarly situated, look at similar positions, and see where we fall from a salary standpoint with those communities?
I can start this and then they can fill it in because I wasn't here for most of this, but over the past 3 years, and we're finishing one right now, Unity. We've done that with all of our unions, classification and compensation. And the goal that was established by the previous manager was to get all of the positions at the 75th percentile. If you want details, these two were here for it.
Yeah.
But the short version is yes, and that includes management. We talk about this a lot, and I think that the theory is that we will continue on about a 3-year cycle on that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but 75th percentile is not, I mean, we're as we've talked about a lot, a robust community that is looking to bring people in. You don't bring people in aggressively by paying them 75% of what they can get someplace else.
But there's a difference between percentile and percent.
I understand that, but some of those areas especially, it has caused problems for us, I think, in terms of recruitment. And it has caused difficulty in terms of finding those positions to be filled. And obviously, we're in a difficult position moving forward. I know all of our union, most of our union contracts are up next year, I think, so we're going to begin the process of negotiating across the board. Again, not this particular town manager's issue, but putting them all up on the same time can be difficult, but I think in some of those instances, obviously, we're not going to be able to provide them anything close to get above that 75th percentile, but in some areas, I think we're going to have to, and maybe we'll talk about that when we get to other areas, so, thanks.
Did you have anything else?
Good, thank
Paul?
I think most of my questions have been asked, but just because Mike brought up the unions, how many unions are we going to have to renegotiate next year with?
All of them except for schools. So we have AFSCME units A, B, C, and D.
E.
And
And
E. And E, don't forget E. Police, fire,
The
DEEG, which is like a middle managers.
None?
Not schools next year.
No schools.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Mary?
Just a couple questions. Some of them were already asked, but when you said you offered a robust training schedule this past year, workshops for employees at all levels, what kind of trainings?
So we've offered things like Excel trainings. We've offered, this week we're doing anti-discrimination and harassment training. We've offered motivation and retention training, customer service, civility in the workplace, and a few more.
So with these trainings, about how many staff members participate average?
Anywhere from 10 to about 25.
Just because I was seeing that the training, wait a minute. Yeah, because the training line item is, and I'm just asking, it was 22,000 this year for trainings, and the proposed budget for 27 is 22, which is level, but it's a sharp increase from 25, so that's why I was just wondering, how often are they held as well?
So this year, we started the trainings really in January, but in FY27, we're going to try to start them earlier in the year so we can offer more trainings.
And I assume your department reaches out to all staff and
All staff.
highly encourages them to
Correct.
participate. And is it a cost to the staff now, right?
No.
And then, no, I think that's it. Thank
Okay.
you.
No problem.
Thanks, Mary. Anything from the audience? Mr. Bradstreet?
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. With all of these budgets or hirings taking place or contract renewals the same year, is there an advantage to that or a disadvantage? Seems to me I've heard in the past, and it's the past for me, that staggering them over a period of time so you don't have so many at the same time having to be bargained with. Is one way better than the other?
Through you,
And
Mr.
if so, why?
So my experience in my former community, they were staggered. So this will be my first time doing them all at once. I mean, again, it kind of depends on what kind of budget year you're looking at. There's some people who may say that having them all at once, especially when you're at a tough budget time, you set the tone and it is what it is across the board. So I can see an advantage there. With the staggering, my experience there was we were able to really meet, spend some more time on each one of them and really kind of meet each kind of unique union in a different way. Oftentimes they'd play off each other, right? So nobody wants to go first because they think they're going to get the worst deal, and and they always want to go last, and nobody wants to go after the teachers. So, I mean, I think there's positives and negatives both ways. Ask me in a year, and I'll tell you if I think it went well.
Okay. I'll try.
Okay, you'll remember.
You're working on it.
Mark, did you have something?
Yes, please. Thank you. The questions that while I was listening is how many employees are we talking about? 700 some employees altogether with the schools? Is that correct?
With the schools, I think we're 600.
I think it's 748.
Why
But
then why do you ask questions you know the answer?
you're supposed to know the answer to every question.
741.
How many? Oh, I was off. So there's the two or three missing. The HR department does not cover the schools, do they? Oh, they do. So it's all inclusive? Because
I'm going to let you explain that one. Because they do in some cases, and there are other things.
So benefits are administrated through Town Hall HR, but in terms of hiring and all that, and Philippe can jump in when I get
Right.
something wrong, but hiring and all that stuff's handled by the HR manager at the school
Hiring
department.
is done through you?
No. Hiring for the school is done through them. Benefits, we handle for them.
Okay. The one question that, while I was sitting there listening is, how many openings do we have at this time?
Right now, we have about 15.
15. That's significant. And the thing is, were they through retirement, leaving on their own, or were they fired? We don't know that. That's something that you know.
Sorry. I didn't hear what the question was.
No, we're not going to get into personnel
Yeah.
discussions, Mark, if that's your question.
That's right.
Thanks.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was-
So what we're talking about 15 employees out of 741. So that's a assignment to HR right now to find those people. But the thing is, what I was noticing, the discussion in regard to the high wages, I mean, everywhere you go to different towns and different employees that come into Danvers, they always say, hey, you pay very well, so maybe it's not well enough for some people, but I think the reputation is that Danvers pays well. So going to the training, who does the training? Do you hire a consultant to come in and do the training, or do you have a package?
We have a variety. We work with trainers that come from Maya, our insurance company. We have private trainers that come in under contract. It depends on the topic. Combination.
Because that's usually offered to the new employees as they come in, and they should be trained. Is training mandatory?
Time.
Yes, for the certain trainings are mandatory for certain positions.
It is mandatory.
Certain trainings are mandatory for certain positions.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Anything else from the audience? Anything else on the human resources budget?
Move the human resources budget.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Moving into Public Works.
Right. All right, so as you know, Public Works is one of the, we're gonna start with the tax-supported. Tax-supported end of Public Works, as everyone knows here, that one of our largest departments, and so unfortunately, they take some of the biggest hits. They are the heart of our town, and quite frankly, this is a department that often cannot do more with less, as people like to say. Sometimes there are certain things in the DPW world that if you have less, you do less. And one of probably the first things I heard over and over again when I first started was, we love our DPW, we love our DPW, we love our parks. And so I do want to make sure we start this with the understanding that I value all of those same things, the sidewalks, the streets, the trees, the beautiful parks. We have an incredible team. We have an engaged new DPW director. All the supervisors are committed to finding these operational efficiencies and kind of reimagining services. Because like I said, if this is one of those places is that if you have less, sometimes you do less. If you have less fertilizer, you fertilize less fields. So we've got a lot of work to do in this area. If you have specific questions, those are definitely be Angelica and Steve to jump into. But the highlight, I will say here in the salaries and wages, there is a full-time administrative assistant position that is not included in this budget. And there is what we take into what we like to call the historical vacancy factor. They did something similar with HR, is my understanding, last year, with the police a couple years ago. But I want to say that the instructions have been given, from the conversation we just had. If they are able to find all of these bodies, we will fill all of these positions. But historically, we've had a surplus in that area because of vacancies in the tune of $200,000, something. 120 in this budget. So they're not like identified positions other than the one that's not filled. We are committed to filling them if we can find the people. So if you want to work for Danvers DPW, please come see Philippe. Questions?
And just remember, members of Finance Committee, if you want to go work for DPW, you would have to leave the FinCom. So you can't. Wally?
Who pays better?
We have the best candy of all of the committees.
We can get candy.
Good point.
I don't see that in this budget. Wally?
I think I'd like to hold off for a while.
Okay.
What positions do you, like, if you had your best scenario, what positions do we need filled? What do we need to make it that you can do whatever you need to do?
Right now, we need to ultimately fill up part of our street division. We're down 4 people right now. And right now, we're getting to our busiest season. Well, actually, we're always busy. It's coming out of snow and ice. That hired a lot of contractors. We didn't have a lot of other internal plow drivers. But come for with the summer work, we also need help out there restoring a lot of the roadways, curbing, sidewalks, assistance with trash and refuse, special events for the community, and all our internal events for the town. Our street division plays a heavy part in that. So that's our ultimate.
You could
need
use
right
four.
now.
Four?
Right.
And how many are in the street department?
We have right now. Budget for 10. We're down 4.
So you're down 4 from the 10? So you're down 40%?
Wow.
Okay, that's not good.
And yes, and obviously buildings is another one of our largest divisions. DPW is in charge of overseeing both the school buildings and the town buildings. Between custodial staff, our building mechanics, our carpentry division, we're down a few. We've actually hired 2 new people on the building side just as recently, so that's some good news. But then again, we're still down several positions in that department as well. So we've had to hire outside help to help with the custodial and overnight shifts.
That's good. Oh, for now.
Maybe now isn't the right time, but maybe it is. So we wound down the landfill project this year. So next year, that's shut now.
Correct.
And there's no revenues, no costs associated with it going forward. Can you just, I don't think, a lot of time gets spent on some of the smart moves that we do as a town. And I'm not, but it's like a good news, it's a double-edged sword. Like, the good news is we made a good decision and it made money for several years and it supported the budget. The bad news is it's gone. And that's gonna make future budgets harder to balance. But can you guys just talk briefly about when it was launched, the amount of money we spent to start it, the amount of basically how much money we made on it, and to give us a feel for how much it was basically contributing to the budget and to the operating budget every year.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Chair, I'll go through the first couple things, and then I think Ronnie will probably step in on a few other
Yeah.
items. So we essentially started the project in 2020 with getting the permitting completed through Mass DEP. We essentially kicked it off in 2020, late 2023, early 2024. We were appropriated a warrant article of $4.5 million to do the initial construction of it, to get us through the first couple of phases. Overall, we projected at the tonnage rate, the soil disposal rate that we had about $30 per ton, estimated to bring in total revenues about $12 million, $11, $12 million. We then did a second appropriation to extend out the project another year in 2025, which was for another $1.75 million, which included the complete closure and capping of the project, which we should be finished in the next couple weeks with that side of the project. Overall, we're still under our original projections of what we were going to spend or have it for expenditures, which is a good thing. So we a little bit conservative, but again, on the back end of it, we're not going to spend the total amount of that. Comes $6.25 million that we totally appropriated, so we should be under that value.
And the revenues are roughly about what you expected, about what
Yes.
was projected? Okay. And so that was really over like a 2.5-year window?
Construction-wise, yes, but permitting
But like
plus construction.
the revenue, like, so we started in '24, or we were doing stuff before that, and only got the warrant article in '24?
We were doing some work in '23 with the initial studies and
Okay.
preliminary phasing plan.
Okay. So net, it's contributed somewhere around $5.5 million.
Net probably closer to around 6.5, since we won't fully expend the original, the secondary appropriation. So that money's already been turned back. 3.8 million of it was part of the $5 million contribution to debt stabilization, which is still there in that fund. And then we have another warrant article for the 2.7 million that we've cleared in all net revenue as part of this warrant process.
And that's going to go to?
That will also, what is our recommendation to put in debt stabilization. So in terms of, we have not used those funds other than to pay off those costs. We have not used those funds for any purpose. They'll be in the debt stabilization for future debt and capital needs. But we expect a small amount, I don't know if Angelica has the number, we'll have some FY26 money of between $1 million or $2 million, was it?
1.7.
So 1.7 million in '26 that will eventually close to free cash as well.
Okay. And the solar array, I assume that's just going to be, if we do that, that's gonna be owned by Danvers Electric and just be a feed, and feed our grid? Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you.
The contract cleaning is way down this year. Is that just from renegotiating with existing suppliers, or is it?
Yeah, so when we did our budget in calendar year '25 for FY '26, we were up for contract negotiations. We were predicting that we potentially would have to go on their state bid contract, which would have been more expensive, but when we actually did the bid through our procurement through internally in town, the prices came way under. So we were able to just realize those cost savings, and this next year, we've allocated out to the specific buildings that need the contract cleaning, and we're gonna have this contract go for 2 more years. So,
This is going to seem like a bit of a flip question, but it is, do we have any place else in town that we can sell dirt from?
I ask the question all the time.
No, honestly,
I know.
I mean.
We do.
and
Honestly,
that
we talk about it.
That we can find a spot that we can do solar panels on it afterwards.
Yeah, it is something that we talk about regularly. This is, like you said, this is something we should be talking about more. It worked. I'd like to say I came in at the end. It seemed fairly low impact on the staff, but Stephen may not agree. We are actively discussing it, but I don't know if we have any examples at this point.
I mean, that was one of those perfect scenarios where you had an existing landfill where it's almost, I would say 75% ready to take on additional soils with the cavity that was in the landfill 1 area that we brought the soils to. So unless we had that large amount of land where that's over, 12 acres, where we can find that there's actually a cavity in there, we can fill it and not overburden someone and a butter nearby. There's not too many of those properties around right now in Danvers.
And then my one question that my wife has made me ask you, which is, when is the Wenham Street project going to be done so that I can get in and out of my, do they realize, right, that there is only one way in and out of Juniper Ridge? That when they close it down, we cannot leave the neighborhood, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we're projecting to finish that just around the July 4th.
That's it.
Eric?
1.5 questions, maybe 2, we'll see. Of the positions that I think you, remember Arthur was talking about, how many of those are not trade positions? I'm just trying to think qualifications other than electricians, carpenters, et cetera, like just someone off the street would be like, oh, wow, that's a good job.
Not trade profession.
Not trade.
We're also looking for 2 engineers, if you know anyone.
Engineer. While he's looking.
That'll
for
be
the
my second question. I'm going to follow up on that.
Well, he's looking for any specifics. I want to point out some work by Philippe and Assistant Town Manager Jen Breaker. Started, and correct me where I'm wrong here, but I think it started with electric. Now they have it in water, and they're considering it in streets where we can hire someone who doesn't necessarily have the credentials yet and move them up the ladder. So it's what's a
Pathway program.
Pathway program. So we're working on that right now, right? So if you come in and you don't have a CDL, we're gonna show you the direction and we're gonna help you get up till you have the CDL. So I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, I think that's part of the good program. You could essentially come off, not say the street, but essentially come up from a high school or a tech school and be interested in getting into a trade, which is a very bright future in. Working through with the town to get your potential CDL and hoisting licenses, and then build yourself up throughout the career path here in Danvers.
Thank you. So then the second question, Mike, over to HR Director, how would we know that? Right, so what my concern would be is, whether it's on my LinkedIn page or anyone that I'm running into, it would be helpful to know what our needs are in a way that is over-communicated. And let me be clear, I am not besmirching any of the efforts that we are doing. I'm pointing out that there's an opportunity because there are many of us that don't know, and there's no guarantee, but we certainly know, having some of the same experience, volume matters, right? Over-communicating matters. I mean, I think we have roadways. I would put one of those police signs out there, and now hiring, go to town hall, and I would just run it, and all you're going to do is charge you the electricity. So I think if our hiring is at that level of urgency, then I would suggest that we, and I say it now because I want to make sure, do something crazy, make sure it fits in the budget, right? But do something crazy. Like we need to know. Everyone in town should be like, oh, there's jobs. You know, they should say jobs at the post office, right? There's jobs at town hall. That would be my thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul?
Yeah, a couple of questions. In lieu of the gas prices as we see them today, automobile, your projection for gas and oil, they seem to be a little low. I mean, is this a contract we put out every year and we store it, or are we what are we looking at if those prices don't go down significantly?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We are subject to the fluctuation in the market with gasoline prices, just like anyone else would be. We only have what we have to be able to storage at our DPW yard with our fueling stations, but we are seeing a little bit of trend downward with the combination of our electric vehicles and our gasoline and diesel vehicles as well. So we've added more electric fleets into our portfolio per se, and that's been able to show a small decrease in our average uses. We also do a prediction over average years, what we project, but sometimes there's just certain things that happen that we can't really predict when we're doing the budget back in December.
Right, unfortunately. What year are we in with Republic on the trash? I'm not sure how I would say a trash pickup or refuse.
Refuse pickup, yeah. year
Refuse
3.
collection,
Yep.
about disposal, is that same company?
Same company, yep,
And then I imagine yard waste is too.
correct.
So where are we with the contract with them?
We're in year 3 and it ends in 2028.
Okay, now, as I'm looking at the projections here, and it looks like they're going up just a little bit, but they're going down in refuse disposal. That would be favorable for the town, but can we expect that to continue that way, or, and how? It looks like it's gone up a little bit when you go to the refuse collection. 900 and, well, whatever, yeah, $57,000.
So collection disposal are almost two different type of entities, even though they're operated by the same vendor or contract that we use.
Is it all still under that 5-year contract?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so all these three totals reflect the 5-year deal, right?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
So we have trash, recycling, we have refuse disposal, refuse collection. Collection is what their general contract to pick up on an everyday basis.
Yes.
The supplied carts. Then we have our disposal fee cost to dispose of it at our transfer station. Also includes ReWorld, part of Covanta, so they're kind of a subsidiary of who helps dispose of the refuse that is collected, bring it to the appropriate landfill incinerator. And then recycling is also part of that cost, where it's both recycling, collection, and disposal at the same time within that one line item.
They seem to be modest increases where they are. I mean, I'm not sure what modest is, but still thousands of dollars. Is this expected to continue this way, or do you see it going up? Do you ever see it going down?
It may go down based on the user preference, but
Yeah.
I don't. Joe's looking at me funny. I don't. Nothing large or extravagant as far as anything as a reduction, but we are seeing. I think we're seeing over time usage patterns of what people are disposing of, and we've actually kind of put into like more of a stream flow program with the trash barrels as well. So I think that's been able to kind of have a consistent disposal tonnage per year. So I think that can carry us through 2028. It's just really the final disposal cost, where it goes, what that price is going to be, fluctuates greatly on the market.
Okay.
It's CPI, right, on the other?
Typically adjust for about 4% CPI.
Where are other municipalities that are in the process of negotiating a contract right now in regards to what they're getting? I mean, part of the problem we ran into with this is the fact that we had a fantastic contract prior to it, and despite the warnings that there was a cliff that was coming, We're not headed towards the same cliff in '28, are we, with this?
I would say, based on what I saw transpire over the course of the summer, I think most communities were on that cliff part as far as their contracts, where our contract was just negotiated, but it was I think, a lot more stable for us to be able to manage through that strike process. So I think we were kind of on the better end, even though it felt like we took a huge hit in year one with the changeover from regular pickup to automated pickup. Not to say that those few communities who are in the middle of their contracts, when they go to negotiate the next few years, that they may see that even larger increase for their costs as well.
Is there any competitiveness in regards to bidding for those contracts, or are we in essence going to be stuck with whatever Republic wants to give us?
Yeah, we certainly will go out to bid for those type of contracts.
Well, I know we'll go out to bid, but is there other entities
Yes.
that are?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll just add, if I may, Mr. Chairman, I'm working very closely with our neighboring North Shore communities who are renegotiating now. Beverly, I believe, just finished. Gloucester is renegotiating, so we will be keeping a very close eye on those. So when we start talking about our strategy, and I will say, just having been part of the Gloucester group earlier on, they're one of those communities that are going to most likely find that cliff that we were paying nothing in Gloucester for recycling, and that is going to change significantly in the future. So we have several neighbors that are ahead of us, and we will watch them closely.
Then, sorry, finally, with it, is this an area where there is a potential benefit to exploring regionalization of some of these contracts in regards to being able to combine with other communities and get a better deal out of it?
It's a really good question. I think just
Thank you.
based on who we have and who other communities have, it almost feels like a regionalized
Yeah.
entity.
Yeah.
Just with the sheer fact of how they got, who's been awarded the contracts. So yeah, that's as close as I think we could get to regionalization. Otherwise, I think it'd be a little bit more. It'd be tougher externally for us to go out and then discuss how we're going to do pickups and how we do collection, where those collections are going to get disposed of, who's paying those fees, who can maybe potential buybacks on the recycling costs. So I think right now, good to stay streamlined with us, stay internally, but always something to think about later on.
I would just add, basically what he's getting at, right, is all of our operations are so fundamentally different. Routes are different. Some communities are pay-as-you-throw. We're into the barrel program. One of the reasons we were so successful through the strike is because we have the automated trucks with the barrels. We have the streets that provide for that. If we get into a regional, again, Gloucester, because I know it, that they are way more challenged to end up trying to do the automated because the streets are so narrow and a lot of places that aren't going to be able to. So the communities are so different. It would certainly be challenging, but always worth thinking about.
Anything else, Paul?
No, I'm all set.
Mary?
Couple questions. Congratulations, Stephen, on your promotion.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask the sidewalk question that I've asked before. Just wondering, I see, that's a goal to utilize self-evaluation transition plan to improve the sidewalk pathways experience for all users. I walk a lot around town, and I walk a lot of sidewalks that are not great. So what's the plan? What does this mean? Like, how do you go about determine what sidewalks need to get repaired? And is the request, enough for them?
So beyond just we have in our operational budget, we also provide money and request appropriation through warrant articles for pavement management. And then also we get supplemented by the Chapter 90 fund. So in combination of those three efforts between our budget, warrant articles, and Chapter 90, that's how we're able to fund some of the road work and sidewalk improvements that we do within the town. We're currently in the process of reevaluating all of our streets and sidewalks right now, based on the last we do a typical drive-by and it collects all the data on all our streets. So we're doing another drive-by of all of our public roadways to get an assessment score of those roadways and then better build out a capital plan to prepare for those fixes in the future for sidewalks, curbing, handicap ramps, road pavement, within, within the streets of town of Danvers.
Do you mind if I send you an email with certain areas to take a look at?
Absolutely. I do not
'Cause
mind.
I've tripped on a couple of them, but, question about trash. From the strike and when we were fortunate to have a continuation-ish of our trash collection, but has there been any discussion, is there any, reimbursement to communities that had, I know it's a tricky question and probably not getting anything, but I'm just wondering if there is anything.
That did happen. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know, Ronnie, if you want to.
Yeah.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chairman. So we worked with the vendor to make sure that we reduced our bill by whatever services weren't provided, with some additional funds to compensate some of the costs. However, all of those costs were offset by staffing DPW at the high school, doing pickups, doing our own yard waste pickup. So again, the net was that we saved some money, but essentially it was they did not provide the services, they couldn't bill it. Trying to go through a lengthy legal battle would not have been fruitful. It would have just been legal fees that they ultimately wouldn't have had to pay, so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah.
And then, again, just bear with me, new here. Sorry, guys. Trimming, line item, it's gone up 118%-ish. Is that due to the cost of what it costs to trim, or are we doing more trimming of trees?
So that's both a combination of trimming of trees and then also trimming, mulching of yard waste that we collect at the transfer station. And we have an absorbent amount that comes in to the station every year. So we've just been capturing that cost year over year, and we've seen it has gone up for us. So we're just correcting the number for it in '27.
Inspectional services, looks like that went up 161%. What's that due to?
So that's due to new Mass General law for basically our code administrator is required to go in and give certificates for each of the town and school buildings to make sure they're up to code. It's a new law that just came into effect over the last year. So that covers the cost for those inspection requirements, elevators, lighting, emergency doors, that they have to do it in order to provide, give a certificate saying the building is safe for entry and public use.
And then real quick, snow removal equipment. So I think we have a lot of snow removal contractors that we utilize. What equipment are we looking to purchase with that increase? More like plows or?
So this specific line item is not for purchasing, is for vendors for us to hire to help us during snowstorms.
Okay.
Basically, it covers their rates to bring in certain pieces of equipment.
Okay. That's all I have currently. Thank you. Thank
Paul,
you.
did you have something else?
Just a quick question. The project that took place, I think from last October to just recently on the bottom, down on 62, all the digging up when you had to keep closing that one area from the stoplight at the end of summer, all the way down to Locust Street, I think it was.
Winter, yeah.
Yeah, that was done by a private utility, wasn't it?
That was done by.
Gas company?
Yes, led by National Grid through their contractor Mira.
Right, okay. Now, once that project is finished, who ends up bearing the cost to repave it? I think at some point, you're probably going to have to look at repaving that whole area.
Yeah, so we are actually, we're working with Mass DOT and National Grid to repave that section of roadway in the next
Excellent.
couple months, actually.
Thank you. No, I mean, I just wondered where the cost was going to.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
Anyone else? Bill?
Nova Salmon, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. This may have been addressed somewhere else, but my page 47, 48, it says FY 25, 26, and not 27. So I'm not sure. But anyway, my question was about winter chemicals. Is that basically salt? Is that just salt? Is there any discussion about, I know that there are sometimes that do a saline spray instead of actual salt, and it uses less salt, and it works almost as well. I mean, look, our roads are great. that's not a question, but in order to reduce the amount of salt we use financially and environmentally, it's not great either. So I wasn't sure if there's other ideas for treating our roadways.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. We use a magnesium chloride, which is less corrosive and a little safer for the environment versus just your typical calcium chloride.
Bill? Go ahead.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. When it comes to sidewalks, many years ago, they put asphalt over the cement. At the time, I'm not sure their reasoning for it. On my street, some of the asphalt now is cracking and whatever. Is that going to be repaired or replaced with asphalt or, to me, cement? Or does it make a difference? Which is better? Or do you do the same thing, put asphalt over whatever's there just to make it last for a number of years?
So through you, Mr. Chair. So specific to that question, I think is one of my initiatives I want to do as the DPW director is kind of to define the limits of where we're going to do asphalt sidewalks and concrete sidewalks. There are pros and cons to both. Asphalt being more flexible, easier to, for movement within the earth. Concrete does pop. It's a little more expensive as well to take care of and manage. So I think we're going to try and stay with some type of consistent areas where we consider using concrete for the durability of it, and other places we're going to end up using asphalt for the long-term maintenance costs and how less expensive it is to use as well.
So is
compared to
it
concrete.
determination by you on which is best for
Yeah,
a particular area?
Yeah, I'm not sure why the concrete was just paved over.
Neither am I, but I've lived with it. The other thing, many years ago, a community, and I don't remember which, got a state grant to put in a solar farm. I brought it to someone's attention. I see now we are finally getting ours, a farm. The town has many buildings with flat roofs. Is it cost prohibitive to install smaller units on these buildings? Is it too much to install them to get what energy off? Which is it, or is it, am I chasing pennies instead of dollars?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think when we have the electric utility
All
director,
right.
I would hold
I'll
that question.
I'll remember that. You're working on it. All right.
Mark?
Thank you. Over the years, last 40, 50 years, we have been famous for having the best snow removal and best street program, including the sidewalks. Has anything changed in the last 25 years or so? I don't see it. The thing is that we're delegating more and more of the snow removal to contractors. We don't do that anymore by our own craft or our own employees. However, when we get into street maintenance, I don't know what happened last winter, but we got some big potholes all over the place. How are we going to resolve that issue? Because it's not going to go away, and the patching is not doing us any good.
So through you, Mr. Chair, just to answer that question quickly, obviously, if there's a potholes and anyone in the public sees it, please reach out to DPW right away. Let us know so we can make sure we can patch it effectively so it's not a hazard to anyone on the roadway. We are looking through and evaluating all of our streets again this year, so we do it every 5 years. That builds out our paving program for the next 3 years, and then we kind of attack it on that basis of, based on the road grade that we get from the evaluation, those are streets we look towards first.
Like it's been mentioned before, come down to Glendale Drive and Brentwood. That needs to be done. Now, the other item that I noticed, and it was brought up, solar farm. Solar farm that has been used as the initiative to backfill the, excuse the expression, the dump. And what has happened is that we have made some money on that. And the thing is, I have been working on trying to get some information of where the solar panels are going to come from, who's going to pay for them, and what's going to be generated from it. And I had all kinds of promises from your previous director of DPW and the electric division. However, the incentives from the federal and state government have basically been eliminated. And the thing is, what are we waiting for? Are we going to get any support from the state and the federal government to install these panels?
Time.
All right, all right.
You finish your thought.
I think that
Well,
was
the problem is that
Well,
we.
save it for the electric
Yeah.
light when they
And,
show
I mean,
up.
yeah, we'll
I
need
think
to
we're
have
waiting
this
for the
with
landfill
Clint.
to fill up. You can't put solar panels on a hole that's not filled up. They'll fall in the hole. It's full.
All right, no, it's not worth even addressing that because those solar panels could have been installed at any angle across that whole landfill. And the thing is, we use this to generate revenue, which is admirable. However, do we have a plan? And I'm going back to the electric or DPW because that's really who started it. How are we going to get these panels and who's going
Mark,
to pay
he's
for
not
them?
in charge of the electric light. Wait and come up and talk to the electric light division when they're here.
I give up.
He's not.
345.
Bill?
Just a great budget, and DPW, I mean, does a fantastic job. Anybody who stands on a street corner like I do, you see what they do every day, and it's really appreciated. I'm concerned with the inspectional services. Oh, sorry. As a crossing guard, I stand on the street corner. Thank you, CR. My wife and my daughters. But listen, seriously, on account number 531084, I can't read it, but it's the inspectional services, the increase of $102,000 by a state mandate. Was there any funding associated with that change by the state?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Just, you must do this, and that's it.
They adopted the new building code, yep.
Yeah, we'll be calling our state rep and our state senator for you.
That'll do something for you.
Thanks, Bill.
Stop, leave me alone.
Is there anything else from the committee? Is there a motion?
Move the Public Works tax-supported budget.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. It is now 8:33. Let's take a 7-minute break, now 6-minute break. It's 8:34, and return at 8:40. Thank you.
Too much to get up. 6 minutes.
CR, I missed it. What the hell did he say?
See that? Please don't kill the kid behind us.
I haven't been on a flight that wasn't completely full in 3 years.
Well, they kept advertising.
Welcome back, everyone.
Oh, but it wasn't.
Of course, most of my flights are to Atlanta.
And if we could move on to the Water and Sewer Divisions.
We got the school budget today, though.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chair, what's not, check my mail.
Let's see. So water enterprise budget is up next. Let's see, too early to predict rate increases at this point. But in general, we know that we typically see them between 2 and 5.5%. There was a decrease in the transfers for water and sewer, and that was related to the final payback to the electric division for the meter purchases, just in time to need new meters. Everything else, I think, is pretty typical in here. Salaries and wages are contractual. The operating increase driven by carbon filter replacement schedule and debt. And Stephen and Angelica are here to answer any specifics.
Great. Mary?
So I noticed this in some of the budgets, and again, new person here. What is a fitness club membership? What's that mean?
That's to go to the gym.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah,
it's
but
an
who's going to the gym?
an employee incentive, and we did actually look at those closely when we were going through the budget to make sure, are people using them? Are people actually using them? And you do have to, really left, but obviously you have to actually go to the gym too. So they monitor it through HR.
Okay, so it's an incentive, it's not required.
No.
to be physically fit.
No, we don't make people go to the gym. We support them if they would like to. And I think it's come through our union contracts.
Yeah, I know, I was just, I started on a few of them, and I was like, what does that mean? No, I don't really have anything right now, thank you.
Paul?
Where are we with water right now pertaining to the lack of? Because it seems like it's been pretty dry over the last few weeks after the snow melt, which was a good melt, by the way.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we are monitoring that. We usually check it. We do have reservoir levels that are in good shape, but since we operate under a specific drought management plan, that also includes precipitation as well. So they're kind of counteracting each other in a way to say that what level stage of drought we may be in. But we did have the melt. We did have some rain. We are transferring water from our Emerson Brook Reservoir into our Milton Pond Reservoir to get us stable and ready to go for the summer.
How many wells do we have?
We have 2 wells.
2 wells?
Yep.
Okay, all right, that's it for me.
Eric?
Nothing.
No, thank you.
Ted?
Can you just clarify something that you said? So you're saying that the drought, the levels are, it sounds like you said they're set off of rainfall and not on reservoir levels?
Both. They're set up for both. Yeah, so depending on what level the reservoir is.
Okay, so there's
in
like
the
a table,
cumulative
there's like a
addition of
table,
precipitation. Yep.
there's a reservoir and a rainfall table,
Yep.
okay. That's it.
Almost up.
So would you explain your new filtration between the 2 wells and your PFAS and how we're going to filter out PFAS that I didn't think was filterable? Are we just changing the parts per million, or what are we
so
actually doing with all that?
You are able to, we know there's this one solid way of removing PFAS from your raw water source, and that's through granular activated carbon. So we have that at our water treatment plant. So that clay strips out any PFAS that's within the raw water supply that comes into our treatment plant. At our wells, we only have green sand filtration. That's basically for iron and manganese. We don't have granular activated carbon yet. But based on we are looking at a warrant article that's coming up that we'll talk about at the end of April, discuss money that we were awarded from the PFAS settlement from 3M and DuPont to further our designs for a well 2 treatment plant expansion to include what we call GAC, granular activated carbon.
All right, so my granular activated carbon line item on this budget Does it reflect any of that, or is that strictly for what's at the treatment plant?
That's strictly for the materials, the purchase of materials within our
Our current
water treatment
system?
plant. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it? Okay. Kind of got what I was getting at, but anything from the audience? Nova?
Do we use the rates for water and sewer? Are those the same no matter how much is used per household or per property? Does it, like if you use a lot of water, does the rate change? Does it go up?
Yeah.
If you, okay, go ahead, sorry.
I didn't mean to cut you off. If
No,
you-
no, 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 that's,
So for use material, yes, we have an increase in block rate schedule, tier rate system. So the more water or sewer you use, the higher the rate goes up.
and is that just for the excess that you use, or is that for the whole thing?
For the whole thing. So whatever you're
Okay,
metered through your system,
yeah,
you then have one block, and then it goes, that level then goes to a next block of the excess that goes through the meter. Then it goes to another level, what you use over those first two tiers.
okay, gotcha. So but it's charged 3 different ways.
Yeah, for residential is 3 block rates, so you have block 1 is 2,000 cubic feet, and then block 2 is 400 cubic feet, and anything above the 2,400 cubic feet would fall into block 3.
Okay, great, thanks.
Bill, did you have something? Did you have, your hand was up earlier, Bill. Do you have a question?
I was just stretching.
Oh, okay. Mark?
Okay, you can start counting the 3 minutes. The one question that I've had, and I think part of it has been answered, Steve, I think, is aware of, this PFAS is a contaminant that we've been dealing with for the last, what, five years or so. And what has happened is that the minimum parts per billion, I think, is increased, is doubled because of the state regulations or federal regulations. It used to be 20 parts per billion, and now it's 40 parts per billion.
Just to clarify
Go
that,
ahead. Yeah.
so it's not doubled, it's reduced. So you need to take out more PFAS, not allow more PFAS. So it's gone from 20 parts per trillion, and now the federal government is looking at making water suppliers take out down to 4 parts per trillion.
More of it.
Yes.
Correct. So it became more stringent. But the contaminants that we have found is only in one well. Number 2, I think.
Mr. Chairman, they're in both our wells.
Now they're both contaminated?
They've always been in both our wells.
Okay, so what I was looking at is we have a decontamination site down by BJ's and, with the leather factory contaminants. We have PFAS that has appeared at the Beverly Airport on the west side. Are we looking at that in any way of trying to resolve it? And the thing is that the filtration system may not work. That's something that they want us to try, and they're enticing us to go and do that. Will it work?
Yes, it does work. They have tested it. So it is scientifically proven to remove PFAS.
So does that mean that both wells will be available for service?
That's what we're aiming to do. Yep.
Okay, and how is that going to impact the rates for the water? That's the million-dollar question.
Essentially, yeah, it's part of, we include in part of our capital plan, and then make sure that when we're planning to do the construction or borrowing or debt, that debt is included within our rates so we're able to pay off the debt.
So the filtration will be at the water treatment plant?
We currently already have filtration at our water treatment plant.
Right.
We need to add and expand at our well 2 site to encompass both of our wells.
And that's going to take care of it for the time being until the feds change the numbers. right? Thank you.
Time. Go ahead, Bill.
Just to finish the question, we're using the chemicals to clean up these forever chemicals. We're using chemicals to, no?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're using granular activated carbon, so basically carbon as you find in your, I don't say like in your drinking Britas, but we're using carbon material. It's not a chemical, it's a media.
So, and we'll have to use that for infinity because of the forever chemicals that are still with us forever?
It also removes other contaminants from your raw water drinking supply, so it's not just related to PFAS, but also takes
But
out
that's
other.
the biggest draw is they talk about the PFAS, right? Correct? How was I gonna, how long before we can be reasonably sure that it's safe for us? Not that it isn't, but the level will be reduced so much that we can look at as we're finally over that threshold.
When we see a non-detect.
How long before that time then?
Well, it'd be instantaneous once the project is complete.
No, from today to that point where.
Oh, to that point.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask it. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna wait till after town meeting to at least the funding is appropriated for the design. And then once we can do the design, that's another year to 2 years, based on whoever we pick for a consultant. And then we're actually working through the funding to make sure whether we go through an SRF program through the state revolving fund, or, essentially if we came into something in our retained earnings. But you're probably looking at, if everything were to go smoothly and there were no hiccups along the way, you're looking at 4 to 5 years.
So I won't see it in my lifetime, right?
You'll see it.
Thanks. Is that a problem on my lifetime? Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're being very generous.
I'm nothing if not magnanimous.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, I want to compliment the town management for finally issuing the budget to all of the incumbents and new people that are running for office in this town. Town meeting members should be very well informed in regard to the budget, but I don't see anything about the warrant articles, so I'm just looking for that. Thank you.
They're in the mail.
Today.
Today.
Today, they went in the mail.
Yes. And I think I speak for all of us, Mark, when I say, good luck. Yeah. Just microphone.
Just wanted to ask Steve, are microplastics included in the PFAS?
Microplastics are a separate entity not included in the PFAS chemicals.
Does our system deal with that?
It does, yep.
Oh, it does?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
And we
Sewer.
are on to the sewer enterprise budget. So let's see. The decrease in debt shows the benefit of shorter-term declining funding schedule. This is a piece, I said to Rodney, I was bummed that we didn't have, my second favorite slide is not tonight, so you can't compare them. But this is kudos to our finance team on how they are financing debt so that it starts to come off in time. And when we get to the debt part, it kind of visually demonstrates it better. So that's primarily what you see here. I will preface this, and we won't go too far down this discussion, because if people want to see a presentation on it, I believe the South Essex Sewer District is coming to our May 7th town meeting. There are significant needs through SESD in both their operating budget and as well as their capital needs. Steve is our representative on that board. The vote is essentially of that board, and these needs, they're considering pursuing special legislation related to these needs. And so stay tuned. SCSD is going to be a hot topic of conversation in the coming years.
And just, I think you may have misspoke. You said the May 7th town meeting. Did you mean the May 7th Selectmen's
Board
meeting?
meeting, yes, please.
Select Board meeting. Thank you.
Sorry. Questions for Steve
Wally?
and Angelica?
No, start in the other end, or let Arthur go.
I'm good.
Ed?
What's the change in capital outlay?
Changing capital A is for a generator,
So we just need to replace those generators.
yes, portable generator.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on what you just said about the sewer?
SCSD?
When people talk about special legislation, that starts to sound, I fear that sounds like legislation to send us a bill.
That is.
Very accurate.
I'm happy to do it, but I think Steve sits on the board, so I'm gonna let him, I'll test myself another time.
So the district has enabling legislation that allows it to operate on a fiscal year basis. Based on the legislation, they're only allowed to increase their overall budget and assessment total of all the entities about 2.5%. Based on what they're forecasting for future costs and expenses to run their wastewater treatment plant for the 5 communities that flow into it, they're seeing an exorbitant amount of changes in residual disposal, which is one of the larger costs for them. That's basically taking all the sanitary sludge that's formed based on the wastewater treatment process and then hauling it off to special landfills for landfill application. Typically, it used to go to Maine. Maine no longer allows it. So now it has to be railed out or shipped out to the Midwest, which is going to increase the cost for that disposal. So that's one of the many factors that they're looking at as far as an increase in the overall operating budget, where they're going to probably see a 10 or 15% increase, which is going to put them over that 2.5% cap to operate.
What's the dollars we're talking about?
As far as,
They got 10% increase to us. What does that mean?
so that's a 10 increase overall to the entities. So essentially Danvers is going to see a small piece of that, and that piece is assessed on the amount of flow that we send to the district each year. So if we can reduce the flow, we can reduce our percentages. So it's kind of a moving target.
So if we go to the bathroom less, we can save money.
Just flush less.
Or flush less,
Flush
right?
less. As we all know the limerick.
Yes, all right.
But we, yeah, definitely at the meeting where the district is here, they've worked into all the details as far as the associated costs that each community may see and what the rates will look like.
That's it.
Mike?
So our sewer enterprise budget costs, was it 55 or 60% of that is what the South Essex assessment is? Is that?
I would say a 60+% is,
So-
well, actually maybe more than that.
So if they get this, if you're able to get special legislation that'll increase that by over the 2.5%, we could see a substantial increase in this just based on the increase from the assessment. And in your estimation from being down there, I'm assuming this has to be done. We're running, in essence, an antiquated system out of,
Yeah, they did a major secondary plant upgrade in the 90s. So now that's phasing out to 30+ years old, plus the original construction through the 1920s, through the 1960s, plus the collection system. So not only do they own and operate the plant, they own and operate the individual pump stations in each of the communities, plus the collection system in the community as well. So utility-wise, pump station-wise, and treatment plant-wise, they have a lot of assets in all the communities. So all those as well need to be improved in the next 20 to 25 years.
put your Karnak hat on. You probably don't know who that is because you're young, but 5 years down the road, this legislation gets approved. Where do you think this number is for us, increase-wise? 20% more?
In total,
Yeah.
don't want to throw numbers around really.
You're gonna get Rodney.
We get Rodney nervous. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be some sizable projects that we're gonna have to evaluate on an individual basis. Ones that are related specifically to Danvers, and ones that we do cost sharing with. So part of the system, we share 50% with Beverly. So if something needs to take place in Beverly, we also own 50% of that. So we're on the outskirts, we're the furthest away, so we kind of incur the most costs as the flow travels from Danvers to Beverly to Salem.
Goes downhill, as they say.
Just to distinguish that there's kind of two approaches here. There's the operational increase
Right.
that they're looking for, and then the capital plan. So it's significant.
Eric? Paul?
How many communities are we involved with in this?
There's 5. There's Danvers, Peabody, Salem, Marblehead, and Beverly.
Down the coast. Thank you.
Mary?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Questions from the audience? Bill?
In Bill Bradstreet. It seems to me, I don't know how long ago, a nice notice went out for us to, as far as sewer is concerned, PP and toilet paper was just supposed to be put through the system because it was causing damage that we all get to help pay for. Have we been successful, or are we being charged if it hasn't been successful, even though we might be? You know what I'm talking about, the PP and toilet paper.
Yeah, so, I mean, SEG is, they are trying to make themselves more available to the public and provide public information on the website as far as what is allowed to be flushed down the toilet. They don't assess damages or payments back to specific communities if they see something down the line. Obviously, they just take care of it within their processing. But then that obviously raised the concern of how much more effort it takes for them to dispose of the residuals there and then send it out to the Salem Sound as well.
Okay. I like the Billy do, and I noticed, I was just curious how much it was costing us. Non-distinguishables down the, thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Mark? If you start the timer as he's walking up, I think that should be fine.
That's okay, I'll walk slow. The question that I have is more related to, we have increased our rates for water and sewer and electric, and we're doing that on a regular basis. Now, this May 7th surprise is going to be from South Essex Sewage District. I mean, you guys have been talking about it, but what I'm interested in is what kind of an effect will that have on our rates that are in place already? Because we've been increasing the rates right along. So does anybody have any idea of what they're going to be asking for? And how is that going to translate into our rates of what we're going to pay?
Those are the types of questions that they are prepared to answer at the meeting. But essentially, we've already been working on that, going through the process and looking at what is this going to cost the town of Danvers in the future. But I would say that Commissioner's been very good about rates. They've been very responsive about them over the past 5 or 6 years as well. So I think, and we've done well with the budget year over year. So I think they haven't done anything exorbitant to say that it wasn't they haven't done any exorbitant increases.
So this is not a surprise, but it's something in the capital planning that they've been talking about over the last 5 years, probably.
I would say in the last 2 years, they've really been picking up on the chatter and find out how they could perform the 2.5% override. Not override, don't want to talk about it. It's not a 2.5% override. It's a change to the 2.5% legislation that enables SESD to operate its wastewater district.
And how is that going to affect us?
So obviously, if there's there will be a capital plan that will eventually, and an operation plan that will need to be adjusted. That will increase, and that effect eventually will increase to the other communities as well.
Well, I don't like you talking about 2.5 override. That's the.
If
one
that was
thing.
the wrong term. so
Yeah,
it's not
that
the-
is the wrong term. Because I know that this is another unfunded liability, just like the state does, they pass it on. But it's necessary to improve the plant. But one of the things that has been happening with Salem is that Salem, the city of Salem, is looking for more in lieu of taxes payments again. And that turns out, last time, they were looking for $5 million, and now they're probably looking for more than that, and that may be included with the equipment that you're talking about.
I think anything that comes to the board of that nature is we discuss separately, and we vote separately on it. But right now, I think the town manager and the town don't support that.
I just hope we can do something about it instead of waiting for them to put the shoe down. Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I just want to give kudos to this team up here related to this SESD. Stephen brought it to me early in my time here. Had to get up to speed quick, took a trip out there. He is the most incredible advocate for this town on the board. We have been on several calls with SESD. We've been on calls with Representative Kearns and Senator Lovely. We're working very closely with the other mayors in these communities. This team is actively engaged in this process and keenly aware of what the impacts are and the information that will make sure that that all of you and the select board and the residents understand what's coming, which is one of the reasons I brought it up tonight. I just want to make sure people aren't surprised.
Thank you. Nova?
Nova Samany again. I just wanted to make a comment that I really appreciate sewer being disposed of. So if that means we have to pay a little more for it to be done well and properly and responsibly, I am willing to pay more for sewer so that it is taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the committee? Is there a motion on the sewer budget?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. We're going to wrap up this evening, right, with capital outlay. I will say, so you can see here, DPW streets, 6-wheel dump truck with a plow, DPW forestry, 1-ton dump truck with a plow, fire turnout gear, police vehicles, 4 cruiser replacements. This is a year that I think that this is another place that I think normally we would have done 5 in this year, but we reduced that to 4 on the police cruisers. If you have specific questions for police or fire, they will be here, I think, Thursday, so you can hold your motion if you need to. But if you have questions about the dump trucks, we're here to answer them.
Mary?
Yeah, let's talk about the dump trucks. I'm just curious. So, a 10-wheel, obviously, much bigger truck than a 6-wheel. What are they? What do they utilize for specifically besides plowing? Like, is it just winter plow or
No, also hauling of soils and materials. Debris, anything that, sometimes small pieces of equipment.
Yeah, so they're
multi-use
utilized
truck,
year-round?
Yep.
Yep.
They came in very handy through the trash strike.
Awesome.
I didn't really know what they were before either, but now I do.
So, just a question, any of these electric vehicles?
No, these are not electric.
Good, yeah. That's it, thank you.
Paul?
I'm all set, thank you.
Eric?
Can you really get 4 police vehicles for $270,000? Wow. Okay, that's all.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Wally?
We're not getting a sander with the 6-wheel dump truck?
We're not adding a sander with the 6-wheel dump truck.
Because we have too many sanders, or?
We should have all our sanders are in fleet. We had 1 truck out at the end of the last with the sander out the last few storms. That's in for repairs. And we should have all 8 up.
Okay.
Yeah. Bill?
Me again. When the trucks wear out, and that's why you're either buying or replacing, are they auctioned off? Are they used by another department in the town so that they get a little more out of their lifespan? Or what happens to the parts that are replaced, the trucks, what have you? I thought we used to pass them down to someone who could use it, or another division could use it, not under the same duress that where it came from. Are we doing that, or do we just auction them off or junk them?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So there's a few different creative strategies we like to use for vehicles. And it can change on a yearly basis depending on what we're requesting for new vehicles and what we have in our current fleet. So it could change to, at one point, if it's a larger vehicle, we're not gonna pass it down. We may surplus it or send it to auction, or sell it. If there is a way that we have a newer vehicle and it gets replaced, for whatever reason, and we think there is a necessary use for it, like an everyday use, we'll then potentially implement that into our fleet, if it makes sense.
So we are being cost conscious. Thank you.
Go ahead, Bill.
Just on the cruisers in particular, and even any town vehicle, we're seeing an awful lot of blacked out windows. And matter of fact, if you see the Massachusetts State Police, pretty much every one of their marked cruisers now, you cannot see the officer inside that vehicle. I think that's a mistake. These are people that work for the citizens. We should be able to see them. We should be able to communicate with them if we're standing beside their vehicles. I hope that the town manager and the DPW manager, and I'll bring it up with the fire chief, police chief in particular, it's just everybody's doing it now. And in these blacked out windows, there is a law in Massachusetts of how tinted your windows on the side can be. Nobody's enforcing it, and they're blacked out completely. And it's a dangerous situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask?
Go ahead.
So, with our new vehicles, and I'm going to shift back to the one we're replacing and current fire truck. We have any plans to put in some type of wash station to protect this investment?
For the fire truck?
For every vehicle here, every vehicle we have.
So we have inside facilities at Canal Street that we can do inside wash, but at DPW, it's an outside wash.
Right. But at this point, it's just a hand wash, is it not?
Correct.
There's no undercarriage washing for the frames that are breaking, and
We don't have an undercarriage wash system, no.
is there any plans? Because, they're not making them any better. And
I mean, based on what we see.
I'm not looking for an answer.
environments,
I'm looking to throw it out there to protect our investment.
Makes sense.
I'm done.
That's something we could regionalize.
I'll be
That
happy
would
to
be, I
take
think,
care
the
of my own
electric
stuff.
light division, which also has trucks. Right, Mark?
Okay. Anything else? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, thank you, everyone. We're back here Wednesday evening at 7 p.m., starting off probably with Danvers Public Schools and the library and some other things.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's wrong.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's right. No, I saw. I looked.